Welcome to the first episode in a multi-part series here. We'll go ahead and dive in a second, but just wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Rick Palaia. I lead our revenue organization here at SmartSuite. And with me today, leading the show, the reason you all are all joining is to hear from Emma Montgomery, who will be focused on showing you some really interesting ways that you can be thinking cross-functionally about your workflows in SmartSuite and connecting the dots across different teams, which is really where the power of SmartSuite comes in. So with that, housekeeping up front, my suggestions are keep the chat buzzing. I'll do my best to monitor as Emma's doing her thing, the star of the show. And questions, please, throughout. We'll reserve some time at the end to dive into Q&A, but we like it to be free-flowing. As you see it, call it out. And with that, I will get us started.
Thank you, Rick.
So by way of quick introduction, as you heard before, I'm Rick. Emma will be doing most of the driving today. I'm going to take just a minute to set some context. I imagine this isn't going to be anything shocking to y'all, probably on the same page here. But the reality is that 2023 has introduced compounding forces that is simply, it's making us harder to do our jobs on a number of fronts. First being there are scaled layoffs, as we know, across a number of industries. That means companies typically have less people to do the same amount of work. We also know that hybrid working flexibility is changing, companies taking different stances. That means there's a need to collaborate both in person and virtually more than ever before. And then we have increasing generational differences. That's not changing anytime soon. And that means people need flexibility in the way that they work with each other and the way that the tools are working for them. So this means we need more efficiency, we need more collaboration, and we need friendlier UI and allowing people to do work on their own terms as opposed to having to form fit to a system. So what do people do when they're at a people deficit? What do companies do is they turn to technology. And this is a pretty shocking stat here from MuleSoft's recent connectivity report of over 1,000 IT leaders. They found the average enterprise is using 976 individual applications. I may have that many on my phone, I'm not sure, but this number is up from last year, and very few of these applications are integrated. So at a company, as you sprawl, as you grow, that means tool proliferation. That means you have shadow IT that's hard to manage. And I'd say the most significant impact would be the data silos that you create by people solving problems on their own terms and their own tools. Enter marketing sales specifically for the session today, what I affectionately like to call the engine room. And there's no shortage of tools used from a sales and marketing sense. This is just a quick dash of some of the ones that you all are probably familiar with. And there are tens of thousands of point solutions out there, third-party point solutions that do really wonderful things for very specific niche use cases. So add all that tool sprawl for sales and marketers, and then you've got challenges around how it's becoming harder and harder to bring new customers on board, acquire customers, and to expand and to grow and delight those customers because expectations are higher, because the complexity of the customer journey is as high as ever before. There's multiple channels you need to meet them at, and you need to be providing a consistent experience across all those channels that's personalized to your customers. Competition, higher than ever before. There are more analytics and AI to track these types of things. So there's a need to bring data into what you're doing and being intelligent as you're approaching your customers and your prospects. There's need for agility because things are changing. It feels like by the week. As we all saw with what happened with SVB recently, is just the need to understand what the knock-on effects are of certain things, how you're pivoting your strategy accordingly. And then often we do see a misalignment between sales and marketing KPIs. In an ideal state, you've created a seamless customer experience. You have clear differentiation. You're leveraging your data and analytics effectively. And most importantly, you're agile and you're ready to respond to what the market is demanding of you, because what got you here won't get you there. I almost broke ChatGPT when I was searching for stats around this topic. There are heaps of it. This is not just a hunch. If you get it wrong, pretty grave effects here. I won't read through these stats, but these highlight the fact that getting sales and marketing alignment correct means better acquisition numbers, means an increase in your revenue growth, means higher sales win rates, customer retention rates, all that goodness. So there are plenty of stats that support that. Getting into what Emma will be sharing today is some really creative strategies in how we can align both of those perspectives. So she'll first start by orienting you to SmartSuite. I imagine some people here are like a Vaskin, probably living and breathing. He probably dreams about SmartSuite at night. And we have other folks here that maybe are just dabbling or haven't quite tapped into the tool yet. And that's okay. We're going to give some brief education, some orientation around it. And then Emma will go ahead and give you a chance to put yourself in the marketer's shoes and in the salesperson's shoes. With that, Emma, over to you.
Thank you so much, Rick. So what is a no-code platform? Before we get into what I'm going to demonstrate today, I'd like our audience to understand what no-code really is. So on a day-to-day basis, we work with, and a lot of companies still do, with spreadsheets or Slack, our Microsoft Teams, and it can get very disorganized. And those products have great value in them. But what a no-code platform does is you build the value on the product. So you can still use your favorite tools, but we're integrating them and we're putting them in one platform. So when you log onto your workspace here, the workspace is an ecosystem of different solutions. So these colorful blocks here are used to manage a project, process, or workflow in your business. So for example, you could have a dedicated project management solution and then a dedicated sales CRM solution. Now, the value in Smart Suite is that these processes can actually be connected. So for example, you know which clients you're working on for which projects. So let's dive into a solution now. Before I get into the marketing use case, I'd like to demonstrate what this solution is and what these items are. Like I said, the solution is the overall process. Now, these items here are called apps, and they are additional detail or attributes about this overall process. So what makes up a marketing process? We could have objectives, campaigns, tasks, or assets. Now, if I drill into one of the apps here, we have items called records. And these are, you can think of them as cells on your spreadsheet. You can think of these as columns on your spreadsheet. However, a no-code platform is a little different, and Smart Suite especially, because these here are no longer just cells, no longer just columns. They are fields of dynamic, validated data. So Smart Suite has 44 plus different field types that allow you to manage and track any form of data and perform analysis and validate the data. For example, an address field, very unique to Smart Suite. So we open a record, not only are these cells static, you can open them and they're very dynamic. So now that we understand what the hierarchy, solution, apps, records here, and then fields, I'll jump in. So everyone put on your marketing shoes. So when you're looking to organize your marketing process, you think about the layers of the marketing process. So I'm going to demonstrate, we have our objectives here. So our campaigns are going to be linked to these overall objectives. So let's just say my first objective is customer education. At a glance here, I can see through my linked record, all of the campaigns that are part of this objective. So let's drill into campaigns. Now, I have several campaigns in the automotive industry, and we can determine what status they're in at a glance, if they're within budget, what the cost of this campaign is, and the overarching tasks. So this here is a linked record to tasks that I have in a new app. And all of these items are linked together. You can always open and do your work from the record view here, but I will just show you the important things today. We know at a glance, how many campaigns are we supporting? Are we meeting our objective? An important thing in Smart Suite especially is the ability to link information across solutions. For example, let's say that your marketing team is going over the asset approval process. So it's time to update this asset here. There's LinkedIn ads. And I'm going to go in here and the work will be done. We have all the information about these assets, the process of updating them. And I want to say that these assets are approved, check approved. What Smart Suite can do is it can create an automation that will bring us to the sales solution. And the sales team will have that new record, that new approved asset as a sales resource. So all I did was turn a status field, and now that sales team has all the resources they need at real time, updated with the actual content, and any changes that occur will be reflected. So now everyone, I want you to put on your sales shoes. Demonstrating just your simple CRM opportunities. As you can see, it looks really colorful, feeling easy to glance at a glance, look at. projects by stage, opportunities by type, pipeline by owner, move them around, of course. Now, these opportunities can come in many forms. So maybe we want to have an intake form to get these in the system. Now, Smart Suite offers the ability to move these across different stages. So let's say that this account becomes closed. So we'll go ahead and it's in the negotiation process, and it will soon become closed. Once this is closed, it's actually going to create an account with all of the information from the opportunities. So all I've done here is change the status field, and all the information about the account from that initial opportunities app will move over here so we can start managing the account. Now, a lot of fields here allow us to see at a glance how we're doing as far as opportunities, what's open, and of course the link to them. Now I'm going to demonstrate how we can look at sales dashboards and marketing dashboards and connect the two. So let's go back to the marketing solution here. I want to be clear, this dashboard can live in any solution. So the marketing team and sales team don't necessarily need to go on a different platform to see what the sales team's up to. This is access to both teams and in real time. So this dashboard can be created, although there's some data that lives in the other solution, this data can be displayed in both solutions at the same time. So I'll go into first the marketing dashboard. Now this is a production dashboard that I created, and the marketing team can at a glance know when their next campaign will be launched. Their check-in meeting that they can join right here to understand what stage these productions are in. And then maybe a grid view here that shows all of the active campaigns in progress. And of course, you can add more at any time. So it's important to know what industries are being successful so we can determine how we should focus our campaigns. As you can see, we have over 40% in the automotive industry. And that can be important because we need to focus our efforts in this type of industry. You can also say we have 60,000 in pipeline for the automotive industry as well. We may want to actually launch that campaign sooner. It could be in the plan, but we're going to go ahead and launch it because there's a great opportunity here. Now, if you go back to the sales dashboard, you need to know what's going on in which industry and then the stage that these opportunities are at. So let's click into the automotive. We have 3 campaigns that are live right now. Easily just click into there. Maybe we want to increase this budget. Maybe we want to make adjustments. All he did was click into that field of data and that graph there. He's able to make changes on the fly.
Yeah. So adding to that from a practical sense, your ability as a marketer to go in and see what deals are at flight as your sales pipeline is constantly changing. Are there certain industries where there's a concentration? Are there certain company sizes, geographies? One of the core roles of a marketer is to make sure you're providing air cover when necessary. And that's doing it dynamically. Like I said up front, being able to meet the customer where they're at and have that unified awareness and consistent story across each stage of the sales cycle is critical. As we know, more and more people get involved in an evaluation process now of new technologies, especially at an enterprise level. So when doing so, that's the beauty for me of a marketer being able to jump in and see, we have 600K in automotive pipeline, taking a step back and understanding what are we currently running towards that. We have something that's not planned to launch for another 2 weeks. I want to move up that timeline and I'm going to push to launch that now. What do I need to do? Let's create the test to progress this to make sure that we're covering those deals. I can link those across. I can see added value and all that.
Now, Rick, I want you to expand on, and let's emphasize here, the marketing team and the sales team work in it's a different theme, but tell me the value in Smart Suite as far as the ability to link records and share data and create automations across workspaces.
Sure. So I can say from my experience in having worked with large tech companies, small startups, and everything in between, that you're often working, especially at larger companies, in multiple systems, in a HubSpot, in a Salesforce, in a Dynamics, whatever it may be. And then all of your tools that you're bolting on, like an Outreach or a Sales Loft, to try to navigate through that. And the list goes on and on. Typically, salespeople are getting their updates as to what marketing is working on at company all hands meetings, at team weeklies. They're getting these point in time digests of what marketing wants to share. And similarly, marketing is getting the digest of what sales wants to share. And that also ties into from an asset perspective, where as a marketer, I need to have control of what assets I'm approving and what assets are being used by the field, by the sales folks. So the ability to go in and control which assets are visible and usable, quite easy, right? You can go in here and you can see all of your brand assets. You can see what might be ready for review. Let's say I've set up timing that says after 60 days, an asset expires and I need to go in and review it again for freshness. In this case, I go in, my automation has triggered this status to move to ready for review. That would actually then, per an automation, pull it out of the sales approved collateral. I could jump in here. I can take a look at this. I can review. And let's say go ahead and click approve. And automation can then trigger me over to sales where these resources are now all updated. So if I'm a salesperson, I can have confidence that these are all up-to-date approved assets from my marketing team. And I can use them at my discretion.
Now, Rick, thank you. That really helps me understand the connection there. And I'm sure everyone else as well. I use that feature on a day-to-day basis when I'm working on our team because we do use Smart Suite for Smart Suite. I would like to expand a little bit on the dashboard views and sharing data. So let's say there's a monthly team meeting and we want to just roll up our data and know maybe how was performance that last quarter, what was successful. So you're saying that in the dashboard view there, that it represents an active real-time source of truth for companies and teams to look at and share.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So the dashboard from a marketing sense and from a sales sense, and the fact that you can create dashboards that are relevant to the person, to that audience, but using the exact same data set.
Great. And Rick, I know you have quite a bit of experience in sales here, and you recently joined Smart Suite. So as a salesperson, what do you think is the go-to when you're working in Smart Suite?
Having the ability to visualize the data as I like to see it. My colleagues, my sales folks around me will be working within their own books, but I might be curious, instead of having to put in a ticket or a request for my IT team to build me a report to understand trends, let's say our top 10 largest deals by industry, for example, instead of me having to request that an admin goes in and creates that, which always has some time, I can go in without messing with any of the data, and I can create the views that give me a lens into my business or my broader team's book of business. So from an intelligence perspective, I mean, there's really no more flexible way for a salesperson to understand what's working, what's not, what my peers are working on, and all that.
Great. And then let's say that there are some resources that a team uses and really enjoys using. How would a team bring that value into a platform like this? Can you talk a little bit about integrations and how you can build value on Smart Suite?
Yeah, absolutely. Our stance here at Smart Suite is we want you to be able to do the work where the data is. And that essentially means instead of having to do work in one platform, like a project management platform, and then having your data living somewhere else in a relational database and different system of records, that you can be creating and or pulling in and updating information and then streaming it back into those other systems. So you're creating not just a way for you to categorize, organize, and visualize your data, but you're also creating the ability to work and build workflows off of your data.
So data is coming in from other places. And this is just your single place to work in a platform, and it's doing it on its own through automation, through integrations. So you're really only looking in one place.
Absolutely.
Now, if you don't have anything else, Rick, I'd really like to get the audience involved so we can answer some questions that they have. Just curious, actually, how many people are using Smart Suite for marketing or for sales right now? I know Vasquez.
And is Michael Wade.
So we're getting a question, how does Smart Suite vary from Salesforce in your experience, Rick?
Yeah, I've used
Is
Salesforce.
there an advantage on either side?
Certainly, right. Not naive to think Salesforce is an incredible solution for managing your sales data, workflows, opportunities, accounts. And the fact is you can replicate it almost in its exact form in Smart Suite, and then you can customize it based on what you need. So my experience with Salesforce, very effective solution. For some companies, it's an absolute must-have. We're not advocating for people to move away from Salesforce per se, but as it scales up, two things. One, we know it could be quite costly. And two, in Salesforce, as you're adding different customizations, and there are endless customizations, you're typically paying for the resources to build that and maintain that as you go along, versus being able to bend and flex in a solution like Smart Suite.
So looks like this person works for a startup. They're low tech and they'll be doing a lot of hiring. who do we need to help support this once it's up and running? So before Rick jumps in, a really great way to do this is to have someone on your team take ownership of your Smart Suite workflows. That person can be someone who's familiar with technology, but having someone to dedicate their time to learning Smart Suite and expanding and developing those workflows and then sharing it with your other team is a really successful way that when I work with customers, I always meet with usually a handful of people, and those people are owners of the process and they take ownership of the Smart Suite solutions, and then they engage their team members. And of course, their team members soon understand the value of Smart Suite, but having those core people to take ownership is really effective. And then you can create your SOPs in Smart Suite. So when you do hire new people, all the platforms, all the processes are in place, and it's just a matter of adding them into Smart Suite. You can actually onboard people through Smart Suite as well. So it's very great for HR.
And going back to Emma's point about it being a platform, this is a pretty clear differentiation. And once this clicks with people, I think they start to see the value of building on the platform. And this is not a point solution. Smart Suite is not a way to do X or Y. It's a platform that allows you to build these workflows, processes, manage projects, and then connect those all together on the same platform. So it can be a sales CRM customized to your needs. It can be a marketing platform. It can be a project management, inventory management, on and on. We have a pretty beautiful set of templates and libraries that we organize by core workflows and industries. So you can have a sense of all the things that we've pre-built. They can all be customized. You can build from scratch, but you're really only limited by your creativity in terms of what you're thinking about leveraging. Onboarding being a great one.
Just going off of that, as far as onboarding people, I'd like to touch on the fact that you can create teams in Smart Suite. So another great thing about the product is everyone has access to what they need to see. So if you create a team in your marketing team, you have set permissions so they can only see their dedicated marketing solutions. And then once you invite or hire a new person, all you have to do is add them to the team, and by default, that marketing team will have those permissions installed. Does it matter the way a link is between two apps is created? No. So Smart Suite is unique in the sense that sure, you can just add a link between apps and the same solution. So here in the Sales CRM, I can create a link between opportunities and accounts directly from the solution. But we go a step further in the sense that I can pull in information from a different app in a different solution. So let's say I have a project management solution that has a list of projects and then a sales CRM solution. I can actually create a linked record between the projects app and the project management solution and the clients app, so I know which projects pertain to which client. So you're connecting two processes there. So we have someone mentioning another strength of Smart Suite, the flexibility of naming and customizing, which I definitely see on a day-to-day basis. Can we show one app in two different solutions? Right here, you can see there's the campaign app. So the campaign lives in marketing solution and the campaign lives in your opportunities. You can even pre-launch campaigns or determine what type of campaigns when you're in the negotiation stage. So this process moves quickly and all of your opportunities and campaigns can be set before they even become accounts.
Adrian, I'm happy to connect with you personally after this and just show you a little glimpse into the CRM that we've built. Won't show it to the masses here, but essentially we're mimicking Salesforce in many ways and their nomenclature, which is we have accounts, we have contacts, we have opportunities, we have a few other fields that are relevant to things that we're doing. But by separating it that way, because an opportunity is a point in time, it's a deal, and it moves through its stages, but it's linking directly to the accounts. And at an account level, especially at an enterprise organization, you might have several opportunities that all fall within that account. And you might be curious to see what your roll-up values would be at an account level, open pipeline, deals closed, total size of customer, things like that. So by creating this separate structure in an app, it just allows you to do a whole lot more after the fact and managing it.
Quick question here. This is key too. And thank you for bringing this up, Dana. So let's say that I do create this relationship between two solutions, and there is information in the other solution that I want to show and pull over automatically. So let's say that I have a new client in our opportunities. Let's say I have potentially the industry, let's just say. And I just automatically want that data to show up when it becomes an account. If you create that linked record through a lookup field, you can look up any data in the other app. So all I did was create a lookup, it's read-only, and that avoids a lot of data duplication and saves you a lot of time.
I see Dan and Bonnie commenting on the helper app. I absolutely love that, as in apps that you might want to hide. One of the reasons that we might not need to prioritize something like that, or just another way to think about it, is the fact that you can pull over that same data across solutions. That is incredibly unique to Smart Suite. So the way that we've built our a little more lens in for Adrian and team is we actually have an integration solution that pulls in all of our different data points that are then populating into our sales CRM, so that we're not getting very crowded and having 10, 20, 30, 40 apps. A lot of that information flows into what we call our integration hub, and that information feeds into our sales CRM. So the experience for a salesperson is very clean. There's just a small number of apps. They don't need to understand all of those integration points, but it's feeding in beautifully from that integration hub. So that would be a way to hide your helper apps in a sense.
Yeah. And a lot of times when I work with other customers, so let's just pick on Airtable, pick on ClickUp for a second. So when I work with these customers, I log into their database and I see 15 apps or tables. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And the reason being is the power of linking across solutions. So when you're working in your project management solution, you're not staring at your contacts, you're not staring at your people, you're not staring at your team members. You can separate those and delegate those processes in specific solutions. So you're only looking at what you need to work on in that process and without having to sync it.
Love that, Emma. Love that. I'm dropping in just a link to the chat. As many, we love feedback. We pride ourselves on feedback and offering an external roadmap. So I'm just linking in to Canny. Some of you are avid participators, and we appreciate that. Much of what we've created lately has been off the back of these brilliant ideas that you all have, and we're here to serve you. So in that sense, please jump in, upvote things that you like and sound interesting. The really cool thing about the way we're doing it is as we are reviewing some of these feature requests, capabilities, potentially broader things we're working on, and as we decide to move those things into planning phase, and as they get launched, implemented, you'll actually get email updates so you can see how these things are moving along the way.
Before, it looks like we have a large sum of people on here. I feel very special right now. And on top of that, let's say you want to continue this conversation. We have a lot of great resources. So I'm happy to expand and continue this discussion with you during office hours. I host Monday and Friday, so I can continue to talk about this. But on Wednesday, we have dedicated help from a specialist in automations and formulas. And then my brother's not too bad either on Wednesdays. And I think he's, Thursdays and Tuesdays. So if you need technical help, he's process expert. Do we have a template for podcast social media? Yes, absolutely. If you go into the template gallery, type in marketing, there's both podcasts and social media. Office hours. How do we get to office hours? So on your homepage, you will sign on. And then on the left tab, it says resources. There's like a bunch of resources. About 3/4 down, it says webinars. And office hours link, you just register once. You can join anytime. You can come for 15 minutes. You can join 30 minutes later. It's every single weekday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific. And we allow you to share, you can literally show your workflows, or you can just come and listen in. Maybe you just want to understand how other people are using Smart Suite. I see both. I see Adrienne joining every single day, learning more and seeing how other people are using it. I see people come in and they need help. They don't understand how Smart Suite differs from different products. They need help getting started. They know their processes. They're just a little unsure on where to start. So in 5 minutes, I can get their processes kickstarted. And the following week, I'll see how far they've come. And it's really impressive and fulfilling to see how much progress they've made.
Yeah. And I will say Emma and Nate are being very modest in just their patience and their commitment to helping you all out. There's no gates. There's no certain level of access you need. We just want to help educate, and we want to help people bring their ideas to life. Stephen is sharing some really cool things there about designing a trading journal. One thing we're hearing more and more about is customers finding ways to leverage Smart Suite and call them micro apps, or essentially build ways that they are bringing more value to their customers. I've heard of staffing and recruitment agencies that are building data intelligence tools instead of the old school, here's a salary report, they're building live things based on their data that they can give a view to of customers in order to win more business. So we're just getting cooking in terms of what you could be building there. And Steven, I hope you've had your coffee like me, because it seems like you're firing as well. Topics do change, Jared. Like, it's free flowing based on the webinar, as Adrian mentioned. Sometimes people just set up with their coffee or tea and just hang out, and they like to pay it
Like
forward.
Baskin, I'm pretty sure he was watching with his kid a couple weeks ago. So look forward to seeing his kid as an active consultant in Smart Suite in the future. Also, I know a lot of these people are already in the community, but if you're not in the community, it's really blown up. It's really great to see our partners engaged. Some of our partners are process specialists. So go in there, throw in your use case, and Baskin will answer you most likely. But there's a lot of different partners that can answer questions. Our team will jump in. This is a very credible resource for people. Join the academy if you're a little bit nervous to get started before you implement your processes and want to know how to use Smart Suite before. Jump in the academy. The courses are free, and they're instructor led by Gareth, who is a no-code expert. But don't get intimidated by no-code expert. He makes it very simple in 2-minute videos that will help you easily connect the dots together, and then go in the community and share your processes before you begin building them.
Awesome. There was a comment, Adrian, up there about the ChatGPT. Yeah, so we are finding ways, and our customers are finding ways to pull in ChatGPT. Right now, it's mainly happening through integrations like Make, or ways you're essentially calling ChatGPT to do things. Imagine a world as a salesperson where you're prospecting, you've got a list of people you want to go after, you've got titles, you've got some simple information, where you're creating a field that you're feeding in dynamic prompts, and it can scalably call ChatGPT to write a script for you. This isn't like revolutionary stuff now, although 2 months ago it was, but it's able to do that and then quickly deliver all those emails. I know a lot of people are starting to leverage that, is emailing through Smart Suite. So they're able to track those conversations and do all that stuff. So ChatGPT is fully in the mix. We're trying to find some interesting ways to innovate and truly innovate, not just content creation, but everything that's table stakes right now, you could essentially do through ChatGPT and Smart Suite anyway.
Does anyone have any last minute questions? But the conversation doesn't stop here. You know where to find us, of course. So happy to take this offline if you have more specific questions. Thanks, Michael. It's been really a pleasure working with you. I remember when you were panicking on what field to create, and now your automations are impressive.
Love this. All right. We really appreciate you all taking some time out this morning, this afternoon, this evening for some. Looking forward to the next part in the series. We welcome the feedback, but most importantly is this free flowing chat. We do pride ourselves on being as connected and open as possible. There's no hiding. So you can come and chat to us anytime. We're here to support you. And please keep innovating, keep pushing the limits. We love to see the things that you all are creating in Smart Suite.
And this series is bi-weekly. So expect one in 2 weeks, and it's going to be on Wednesday at the same time, 8 a.m. Pacific time.
Oh, yes. So call out there. And a really good one is we have some ideas of cross-functional teams that are constantly working in tandem. So product and marketing, engineering and IT, so on and so on. We have a vision for what some of these future sessions would look like. But if you all have ideas and you'd love to see how do operations and finance work together, whatever it may be, shout us those suggestions. And if any of you are creating, call out to anyone on the call. If you're creating really interesting cross-functional workflows, we'd love to have you join us. So we're not doing all the time, to be able to showcase some of these cross-functional workflows. So multiple functions, one workflow, two different functions are benefiting. Let us hear about it.
Yeah, and you can reach me directly too, because I'm in charge of planning these webinars. So you can just email me. It's really easy. I'm at smartsuite.com. Love to continue this discussion.
All right, everyone. Rick at smartsuite.com. It's been a pleasure. And enjoy the rest of your days. Take care.
Thank you so much, Rick.